The Chicago Bears are rolling, ladies and gentlemen. 4 in a row for the first time since 2018. The run game continues since the bye week to dominate. This defense is playing off the charts. We're going to be talking about it all with Adam Rank, Shayne Marsaw, and Phil Ottochian. The whole family's here. It's CHGO Bears After Dark starting right now. Welcome back to CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by our good friends over at Circa Sports, Illinois. Circa Sports, Illinois. It's sports betting the way it should be. Make sure you're going to circasports.com and download the Circa Sports Illinois app for all your gambling needs all day, every day. We appreciate your support and your viewership to this program. I'm your host, Greg Braggs Jr. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Rank from the NFL Network and Shayne Marsaw from the Tape Never Lies Network. The three families are in the house. Phil Ottochian will be joining us here in just a little bit as we are now on a 4-game winning streak. How about that, guys? Not too bad. Pretty exciting stuff, Rank.
No, it really is exciting. And I think that, a lot of people will point out we were 4-2 last season, but I'm like, if you can't tell the difference between this staff with Ben Johnson and what was going on last season, then I don't think that there's much help for you. Like, there's really nothing we can do. Like, at some point, like, you're just a lost soul. Although I will say, like, and, we all go out after the show and we put out our analysis and we do some things. Why do we always have to? I even said this myself, and I don't mean anything by it other than Caleb Williams is not as good that he's going to be. He's going to be an excellent quarterback. He's going to be one of the best in this league, and it's fair to say, like, you can play a little better. But good Lord, people are just acting like he's washed. Like 7 games in. This is what we're in. 4-2, 4-game winning streak. Doing what it takes. Listen, I think that we should take solace in the fact that we are 4-2 and our quarterback hasn't even started to scratch the surface of how good he's going to be and how good this offense is going to be. You cannot sit here and watch how dire the rushing attack was a couple of weeks ago and how good it looks now and not have confidence that Caleb Williams is going to have the same sort of ascension. Like, what are we doing here? What is everybody miserable about? Why do we got to complain about everything instead of just going out there and enjoying the victories and enjoying it for what it is?
Well, it's about instant gratification, right? I mean, you got a Monday night game going on right now with Detroit and Tampa Bay that I think are prime examples of that instant gratification culture. It's a league-wide problem. It's not just relative to just Bears fans, where you've got Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield facing off, where their original teams and fan bases wrote those guys off, and that's a big-time NFC matchup right now. And, long gone are the days, Shayne, where a quarterback was allotted 4 or 5 years to develop and become a guy that can be a high-level starting quarterback in this league for a decade and a half, a decade plus. But I don't, as Adam said, it's hard to really worry about those people's opinions that don't want to have that patience, because with Ben Johnson, I really don't have much concern. I really feel like he understands what the problems are week to week. Okay, the passing game was off last week. I have very little doubt that they're going to show up on Sunday against the Ravens with a much better showing from the passing game and Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's like Bears fans are always in bunker mode, preparing for the nuke to get dropped and, blow everything up. And you're like, oh, it's never going to work out. We're never going to have that guy at quarterback. They're always in prep mode that way. That's what it feels like to me anyway. But you're right. Adam said it perfectly. If you compare anything to 4-2 last year to 4-2 this year, you just don't know what you're looking at. I mean, how can I think it was Brendan Shagru was putting together the post game speeches from Flus and Ben Johnson. I mean, that just in and of itself. I mean, I feel like running through a brick wall for this guy when he speaks and gets the guys going. That I think the Dennis Allen one was the best one that we've had yet when they brought him in. That was fantastic. And I said, imagine being around that 24/7. It's going to be good for this team. But yeah, do they need to improve? Is Ben Johnson perfect? No. Caleb's not perfect. We have a long ways to go, but I think we have the foundation is finally correct in Chicago to build the house the right way so it's not going to fall over after a year.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam has some responsibilities to attend to, so he's only going to be here for the first segment. So I think me and Shayne wanted to throw you some questions, Adam, as we have your time. But we spend so much time talking about offense. We're all lusting for a 4,000-yard quarterback. Let's take down Eric Kramer's records. As much as we love Eric, it's time for those records to sit down. But defensively, 15 takeaways, as Briggs is trying to jam into my brain. Stop calling them turnovers. They're takeaways. 15 takeaways over the last 4 games. The run defense has stepped up the last 2 games. They hold, the New Orleans Saints to 44 yards, flying all over the football. Ben Johnson called it the most physical game they've played all year. And I know you're the fantasy guy, so that's, another reason why we're always looking offense too. But what are you seeing from a defensive standpoint here from Chicago? Because it's been impressive on this win streak.
The Bears are playing with such a physicality is that the referees have to throw flags to try to calm it down. It is an AYSO approach that we're seeing with these referees. Like, sincerely, I feel like there's somebody in the league office who is an AYSO board member who's like, well, this is the way you do it now. The kind of penalties that they're throwing on them are the kind of stuff that you do see in AYSO. I remember a couple of weeks ago, now there was a girl that I coached. She's now in a younger division because my daughter moved up. So she plays for my friend's side. And the referee came up to her in a 4-4 game. Came up to my friend, Jeff, in a 4-4 game. He's like, hey, Brooke can't score any more goals. And I'm there as a bystander being like, and I jump out of my seat. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? And it felt that way on Sunday where it was it Kyler Gordon, where Kyler Gordon goes out there, smokes Alvin Kamara in like the legalist hit of all legal hits I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what Daryl Johnston is looking at. Like, no, that didn't look as like, how did you watch that in real time and not see that was shoulder to shoulder? Like you're looking at a television monitor. Unless Moose Johnston does not rely on the monitor and he's perched up high at Soldier Field, and like that was the easiest thing to call of all time. But I knew a flag was going to happen because I know that the referees are like, oh, the Bears are playing too tough. It started with the Miami media crying about it, and now it's carried over. No, they're playing too hard. And they were like, and Moose Johnson's like, well, once he did this, I'm like, once Kyler Gordon was paying homage to CM Punk, like that is the signature move of one of the signature Chicago wrestlers. I want to give Seth Rollins his run. Like, you guys, like, I am so disgusted by what was going on with the officials, but not to take away from anything that the team has done defensively. Let's talk about, can I give you some real talk on the Bears defense, as everybody wanted to flush the toilet on our guy Dennis Allen weeks ago. Number one, JJ McCarthy had one good quarter. Shouldn't have happened, but he had one good quarter. The Lions game was the Lions game. I have no excuse for that. That shouldn't have happened, but it happened. Held Dak Prescott to 14 points. Pretty much have ended Geno Smith's career. Like, he's never going to be the same. He's broken. He's never going to rebound from that game with the Bears. Ashton Genty did run, but what did it matter? The Bears still won that game. Jaden Daniels didn't have a great game against the Bears. Now this week, it's Spencer Rattler, but Alvin Kamara did nothing. Spencer Rattler had some empty calories, some flag-aided drives, which seems to be the thing. Like most of the drives over the last couple of weeks have been flag-aided. Jaden Daniels gets a reprieve. He gets, Spencer Rattler gets a reprieve. That's how we're scoring points. And yet at the end of the day, we allowed 14 points. 14 points. We're not giving up anything to anybody. And so whenever I have to sit there and correct people on the fantasy show, I even said it today. I'm like, Patrick, you have to stop acting like the Bears are a favorable matchup for anybody. If they're not, it's a good defense. They're good. Are they the most dominant defense in the league? No, but it's a good defense that's only going to get better.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how this defense would have looked with Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
100%. So Adam, with that being said, here, we're getting close to closing out this month, and we have the trade deadline coming up on November 4th. Yeah. Are you a buyer? And I mean, what are your parameters that way? Are you looking to add to this defense, if so possible?
If anything can bring us, if we can get any sort of talent for a day 3 pick, I would do it. I wouldn't be interested in moving any of our early round assets. I would want to keep those because at the same time, we got to start thinking about the salary cap. Eventually, some guys are going to be extended. We need to look at it pragmatically. How close are we to winning the division, going to the Super Bowl? What are those moves going to be? We've seen time and time again. I know that we had a little bit of an overpay with Montez Sweat, which was fine because we are signing him long term. But if we can get a rental for somebody who's like, you know what, give us a 5th round pick or whatever it is, fine, I'm in. 5th, 6th, 7th round pick, I'm doing it. We see this all the time. Teams trying to shed some salary or get out of a situation. Even if we have to take a bad cap hit for something, that's fine. I'm not interested in like a headline breaking news. Ian Rappaport has to wake up at 3 a.m. to go on Good Morning Football to go report this. But if we want to go out there and add some pieces, I think that's one of the things that's been the most impressive is that Dennis Allen has been able to do that with the pieces that are already in place. Yeah. Which leads me to believe that we don't need to go out there and add all these players. It reminds me of an interview I saw with a famed soccer coach, Jurgen Klopp, who was talking about the reason why he didn't want to go accept the deal to go coach Man United and instead went to Liverpool because Man United promised him like, hey, we're going to go out there and sign all the top names and blah, blah, blah. He didn't want to be a part of that. He's like, I can build a team through my own methods and coaching them up. And I think Dennis Allen is of a similar, I know any soccer head's going to be so pissed right now. Like, don't you dare. I know I'm not saying Dennis Allen is a Jurgen Klopp of the NFL, but I think it's the same sentiment of like, he doesn't need big names to go out there and make this happen. He can go out there and do it with guys who fit his system.
Yeah. It's, I think my criteria, Shayne, is that beat the Ravens. All right. Because I did say, I'd like to be 3-1 through this 4-game stretch before we know like how serious this team will be as a, having legitimate playoff talk conversations. But the reality is, had the Packers lost like they should have yesterday, and I don't think the Lions are going to lose tonight, but you never know. But regardless, had they, the Bears would have been in first place. So whether I want to say they're playoff contenders yet or not, they're in the thick of it right now as we speak. It's still early in the season.
Lions are up 14-0, by the way, and Mike Evans just went down with a knee injury.
Yeah, the Lions have looked really good here so far tonight. But regardless, you only have, this Saints game and now 2 more games before the trade deadline. So you got to make your decision before that. Beat the Ravens. We'll see if Lamar Jackson plays. I know he did not practice today, so we still don't know if he's going to play or not, which certainly changes what your perspective would be going into Baltimore. That being said, if let's say he does play and you beat the Ravens, who are reeling right now, that's where I would say, all right, I've seen enough now. You're 5-2 and you're not even halfway through the season with a legitimate chance at 10 wins. That's where I would then pull the trigger and green light, start opening up conversations to trade talks. And we don't know. We did get some good news today from Ben Johnson. where he said Cole Kmet and Tyreek Stevenson are day-to-day, week-to-week, which is better than out for a year.
Right.
But it's also still pretty vague when you can say day-to-day, week-to-week, and that could be Kyler Gordon and be out for 4 weeks. You just don't know. And so if they don't have Tyreek Stevenson for an extended period of time, that's where, as much as we're looking at pass rusher, and I commend how well the secondary played with those injuries. Nick McLeod comes in, Josh Blackwell came in. Josh Blackwell on special teams, maybe had the hardest hit of the day.
He did.
But they would have to seriously consider bringing in secondary help at that point, because even Nashawn Wright came out at one point with an injury with some friendly fire. And so they're walking a tightrope in terms of depth of secondary.
His friendly fire.
His own friend. Yeah, his own friendly fire for sure. So we'll see how it goes there. Adam, before we let you go, and we'll obviously, me and you will talk here on Wednesday on the Sick podcast. Make sure you tune into that daily. I know you're going to be on tomorrow with Nick, who you guys do a fantastic job as well. Yeah. So, make sure you guys are tuning into that. But any final thoughts as we're now on our first 4-game win streak since 2018, looking ahead to Baltimore, some uncertainty with Lamar Jackson of whether or not he'll play, but just the 30,000 feet overview of what you're seeing so far with Chicago.
Yeah, there is. Lamar Jackson did not practice today. I know they're just opening up their window coming off the bye week. We really should pay attention to that until we get closer to Friday and how everything's progressing. But we should now. And it's funny because we'll look at this. On Sunday, we went into that game where all my NFL Network colleagues picked the Bears to win. And it really worried me, almost to the point of like, do I need to go back and change my pick and make sure? And the guy who actually curates that is a Bears fan. And he ghosted me this week because I'm like, how the bleep did you allow this to happen? Like, why didn't you convince Colleen Wolfe or somebody to change their pick? Don't do this to us. But it worked out well. I think we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the flip side because I think the early indications, I haven't seen the line from Circa Sports yet, where I believe the Ravens were opening up as 6.5-point favorites, which is like the disrespect of this is like, it's pretty astonishing. That's fine. You know what? We'll see what happens. It's good. It's good to go back to play in that underdog role. But overall, I don't want everybody to get caught up in everything that's going on with people comparing quarterbacks. I just saw something on Sleeper. I think it was Hayden Winks who put it out there, like redraft the 2023, 2024 draft class. Like, oh my God, it is so early to be doing that. You made a great point earlier where you're talking about Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield. And I will say to the person in the comments who were like, the Rams gave up on Jared Goff. Yes and no, because they did get Matthew Stafford. It's not like they weren't turning to Johnny Wolford or somebody like that. They were bringing in Matthew Stafford. He did win a Super Bowl. So I think it ended up working out well for the Rams. But I think so often these quarterbacks get cast aside far too quickly. And somebody had this point too, where I thought this was an excellent point, and I apologize to the person who put it out there, where they said Caleb is a bigger project than we kind of wanted to admit coming into this, which is, I think yes and no. I think that some people admit it, like he's got some things to work on. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I even said yesterday, Caleb could be better. It's kind of like if Caleb was playing golf and was learning and like shot an 89 is not a bad score. But it's like, oh, it could have been better. I hosel rocketed one on 7, started pulling the ball again. Like those are the kind of things that I think that need to be cleaned up. And I think that what Caleb needs right now is Ben being like, bro, no hero ball. Just run for 3 yards and slide if you want to. You will obviously get lit up by a linebacker. They will never call it, but still go out there and take those early yards. At the same time, you got to feel confident where the Bears are headed, and you got to feel really good about it. This organization is starting to put it together. So anybody who wants to sit here and be like, same old Bears, we drafted the wrong guy. You know what? Go watch the Bulls. Go watch the Blackhawks. Come back to us in December. We don't need you around right now. It's kind of like when you're sitting there and you're getting ready for a party or something, and somebody is there just sitting there doing Jaeger bombs and not helping out. I'm like, can you go outside? Like, we're trying to hang stuff. We're trying to get organized here, and you're not helping. So go outside, go enjoy the early part of the Bulls season. Or if you're a baseball fan who's still rooting for the Dodgers, this isn't to you, Shayne, but other people, go watch something else. Go watch wrestling. I don't care what it is. Leave us serious people alone, and let us just go out and enjoy what's going on.
Yeah, it reminds me of on Sunday morning when I'm setting up a tailgate in the freezing rain and the wind,
right?
In the mud, and Carm's taking videos at Midtown swimming. Like
he's got his kazoo out doing whatever, entertaining the folks. Like, stop it, Carm. Like, but you're better off when he's not there. You're not helpful here. Just show up. Just with the
that is fair, because when we do live shows, and we're going to be at Joe's on Weed Street here coming up this Sunday for the Bears.
Weed Street?
We're going to be at Joe's on Weed Street. It's a classic Chicago bar. But every time, Carm will offer to help, but I always tell him, no, you're the way you can help is get out of the way. Go over there. Leave me alone. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, go ahead.
The Cleveland Browns game. I've already bought my ticket to fly out to Chicago on December 13th. I wanted to get out there before winter, so right at the end of the fall there. I mean, it's still gonna be cold, but and I'm not picking it because Cleveland's an easy game, so to speak. But it's $500 less to fly on the 13th than it is around Christmas on the 20th. So I'm gonna be out there. So it looks pretty solid. I haven't decided if I'm going to be the tailgate guy or if I'm going to be the press box guy.
But you can
I'll be out there for that game.
You can be both, sir. So we'll work that out here, and hopefully you get some good weather, better weather than yesterday. So, all right, we'll let you go. We'll let you jet. Appreciate you coming on as always, and enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll see you on Wednesday on the Sick Podcast.
We'll see you Wednesday. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. That is Adam Rank from the NFL Network. We're going to take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we'll bring Draft Dr. Phil into the discussion as we are celebrating a 4-game win streak and looking ahead to the Bears versus Ravens. So don't go away. Hit the like button, and we want to give a quick shout out to our special sponsors. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. They always take care of the people. So bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it for you. You want to fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois? You hit up Circa Sports Illinois. NBA season gets underway here. Bulls starting up in a couple days. NHL season's already off and running. You got the Bears on a 4-game winning streak. You want to make sure you hit up Circa Sports Illinois for all your gambling needs and betting on your favorite teams here in Chicago. So download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Make sure you call 1-800-GAMBLER. Circa Sports Illinois. Shout out to them as always. And shout out to Shady Rays. Our guys at Shady Rays have been with us since the very beginning of CHGO Sports, and we appreciate their support. Shady Rays is changing the game. These sunglasses are made for real life. Seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and most importantly, not stupidly expensive. We all know that moment when you left your sunglasses at the game or at the tailgate or accidentally stepped on them after you dropped them. We've all been there, but the wild part about Shady Rays, if you lose or break your pair, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair, no guilt trip, just replacements. So now I wear my sunglasses without fear. Shady Rays is the eyewear that has your back. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right, we're back here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We just hit 91,000 subscribers here on CHGO Sports, so we're in our Dennis Rodman phase right now. So we appreciate everyone, as always, for their support. So joining the conversation, as promised here, is Draft Dr. Phil. How we doing, Phil? How's everything going? How was film study?
Well, film study is accountability study here in Connecticut, not Boston. So it went good. We showed some things that we did wrong that we got to clean up. In a win, it's always good to be able to clean up mistakes and still be able to dominate your opponent to get yourselves ready for the biggest game of the season now. 7-0 versus 7-0 this Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely. As Shayne just notified me that I put Victory Tuesday on the tweet. The funny thing is, Shayne, on the thumbnail for the show, I put Victory Tuesday and caught it.
Yep.
I'm just so used to us playing on Monday here to start this year.
Well, I retweeted it and then I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I had to step back. I'm like, wait, today's Monday, right?
I honestly,
I'm all
the days all collide together now, but yes, it is Victory Monday, not Victory Tuesday. But that's funny. I'm sure Twitter's having fun with that as we speak. We can blame Mark Harmon for that. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
isn't that Backup Wednesdays? Isn't that what he celebrates?
yeah. Scout team Saturdays. Yeah. So I mean,
miss you, buddy.
Yeah, we love you. I'm sure he's tuned in and not doing whatever he does. So yeah, let's keep the conversation rolling. I really wanted to try to, as best I could here, at least to start the show. I want to talk about the run game, talk about the offensive line, talk about Theo Benedict, who Ben Johnson said, it was not his best day to say the least. And I do want to get into those things, but I really want to try to emphasize this defense, because we don't talk about defense enough, as a fan base, as analysts, this program, we're always so hyper-focused on Caleb Williams and the offense, and rightfully so. I understand why, but there are 52 other guys on this team, and this game against the Saints embodied that, and this defense should be commended. 15 turnovers over the last 4 games, 15 takeaways, I should say, and then you have Kevin Byard, who's leading the way. 33 interceptions since he's come into the league, leads the entire NFL since he joined the league, in interceptions. The run defense has stepped up in a big way. Andrew Billings the last couple weeks, even in the Raiders game as well, has really shown up and helped shore some things up on the interior of the defensive line. And Montez Sweat may have had his best game of the year here on Sunday. TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds are playing outstanding. And all of this with the fact that they're playing with so many injuries across the board, whether it be Jalen Johnson or Kyler Gordon or TJ Edwards or Grady Jarrett, who was held out another game, looks to hopefully be returning here against the Ravens. And even a guy like Austin Booker, who hasn't had a chance to get on the football field because of injury, looks like he's ready to go, but still has to wait his turn. So, Phil, I'll start with you with what you're seeing from this defense. Dennis Allen, who had a revenge game here on Sunday against the Saints, really deserves a lot of credit, because it just feels like this is something that can carry over week to week.
Yeah, doing a great job. I think one of the things he did very smart is moving Tremaine Edmonds to will linebacker, so he can use his athleticism on the backside and still his length and what it is that he wants to do. This isn't a 4-3 cover 2 Tampa 2 philosophy. So with that move, you've really gotten a lot out of that weak side, because he's so athletic and long. He's able to cover a lot of ground, and listen, he's around the football on these tip balls, and he has very good hand-eye coordination recognized. I think that's an underrated flip-flop of assignment that really is helping this defense really exceed expectations of where they were. With what you're saying, the run game, their run fits have been really well. And I always felt like Edwards was a better middle linebacker, commander of the defense, downhill, reading what is going on and attacking it, and able to shed and fill. And that has been really great. And then, of course, the the pass rush waking up and those guys getting penetration. It's been exciting to see. And when you have aggressive,
should I, sorry to cut you off, but should I, talking about the pass rush, they get 4 sacks, but only one of them comes from the defensive line. Should I care as a fan that they can't, we're so used to, we have to get pressure with our front 4 because of cover 2 defenses, but Dennis Allen showing different blitz packages, showing different guys at the line of scrimmage with Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. Should it matter to me how the sacks are coming? Should I still be harping on the front 4 more, or 4 sacks is 4 sacks?
No, listen, do you want to stand there and wait on them to wake up a pass rush? What you're doing is necessary because you don't have a pass rush.
It's a testament to your coaching.
Yeah. Yes, the coach is scheming rush, and they're having to do it because of the neglect and negligence of the front office and the GM particularly. So you can't just sit there and wait around and hope that, Turner, let's put him at edge and maybe he'll. No, you have to do something, and that's what Dennis Allen is doing. And that's what great coaches do. You have to be able to find the intricacies and the tells of your opponent to kind of get yourself in a position to attack. And I just like what he's doing philosophically because you don't have an elite pass rush. I mean, that's why we say this all the time at the Tape Never Lies Network. The pass rush is second priority position to quarterback. And if you have that, everybody else gets better. Your corner that's okay, he gets better. He becomes good, or a good corner becomes great because you got this elite pass rush and these guys getting off of it. So you have to do something, and he's using Brisker and Gordon and these blitzes to go after the quarterback to create this destruction in the backfield. And then you have some run penetrators that you can use in game stunts and twists to try to create holes so you can attack aggressively to the quarterback. I've been waiting for this, and the last 2 weeks it's really shown itself up. I've been excited about Kyler Gordon. His first game, he was kind of rusty and looked a little tentative. This game, he looked more confident. Thought that foul on him was atrocious call.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. But other than that, Greg, I really don't think now's the time to worry. You got to cook with what you got. And he's doing a great job cooking with this grocery list that Ryan Poles bought, and it's not the best.
Yeah, Kyler Gordon had a nice blitz to the quarterback where he made a nice move around the edge. Jaquan Brisker went through the running back to get a sack.
Brisker could have too,
yeah, and that should have been a fumble. Wasn't. I mean, they should have had more than 4 sacks. For different reasons, they didn't. They should have had more than 4 turnovers. Because of the
could have had us another sag. He got his hands on it, and then he didn't finish.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, Shamar Turner, you've seen him get moved around on the defensive line to the outside of the inside. You even saw Dio Dangbo. Some people are highlighting on Twitter a nice spin move he put on the guard. That's his first good spin
one
move.
out of 18.
Yeah. Fine. But here, as Phil just said, though, that's coaching. Fine. If that's where the spin move works, then put him inside more. I don't, but Shayne, looking at Montez Sweat, because he's the big dollar earner. He's supposed to be the alpha. He's supposed to be the game wrecker on this defense. Well, 2 games in a row, he's gotten a forced fumble early on, and that has set the tone. So has Montez Sweat starting to turn a corner and doing what we need out of him, or is there still more left on the cutting room floor for us?
Yeah, I'm not ready to say that he's turned the corner because he's always flashed. And if you look back at anything that Montez Sweat has done, any big play that he makes is usually pretty early in the game. and then you're looking for him. You want your money players like that. If Phil is my DC, I want him to drop something to, get Montez Sweat home in the fourth quarter to seal the game for you. But I'm not ready to say that he's taken it. He needs to make plays. He's made a couple of plays the last 2 weeks. But again, $94 million, you better be a lot more consistent than he's been. Because, I mean, his pass rush win rate as a Bear is like a little over 8%. And that is horrific.
Not good enough. Yeah, it's not good enough. But I mean, the defense just has played unbelievable. I mean, 15 turnovers, 15 takeaways. I'll get it right, Briggs. I promise. 15 takeaways here over the last, 4 games is incredible. It's hard to count on that. That's not something that you can count on every week, but at the same time, they still seem to be doing it. It's impressive how this streak has kind of gone with them, and it's opportunistic football. But Phil, the number one takeaway when that game was over was, man, they are really what you always, since I've known you now for, 7 years, going on 8 years, I think the number one word you use is identity. And the identity of this team the last 2 weeks in this game was physicality. I mean, that was some of the hardest. We can talk about takeaways all day, but the hitting we saw in this game was extremely impressive.
Yeah, I think really sent a message to DeAndre Swift. Are you going to step up and be the lead dog? And are you going to carry that, what you did in Washington, to the next game? That was the challenge for me, because there in Washington, you found your identity. That's what you needed to see from him. And he did carry it over. He was running aggressive downhill, the combo blocks and the technique are there. Now, Dahlman didn't have that great of a game, and neither did Theo Benedict. They got to clean some of this stuff up. But really, ultimately, in a lot of the run game, they were able to find their fits and really run their feet and allow this running game to excel. And to your point, I've said it 1,000 times. I know everybody wants fantasy football and all of this crap. I know Adam's not here to defend himself, but none of that matters. The win matters. You don't need to pass to win. You got to run to win. That any team that you end up seeing in the championship, how was their run game? Usually it's in the top half of the league. There obviously will be some nerd boy, blog boy giving me one team that was able to do it with the 30-second run game. But it's not the standard. The standard is if you running and defense travel. And if you're able to do that, you're able to win no matter what you're doing. And I really love the rotation of Swift and Monengai. And I've been very hard on Swift. So that's your identity right now. That's really running the football is going to be the identity. Shayne and I talked about it, not to jump into something else, right after the game, how Caleb needed to go run the football off these action plays and try stop fishing for more. It's not there. Take it up the field and get a positive gain. Then the big plays will come later. It's something that he addressed himself. So that's a big step forward. A person's career isn't defined in a game. Greg, I don't know how you are dealing with it, but fans are just all over a story before it even begins. It's like watching the trailer to the movie. I already know the whole movie. No, you don't. No, you don't. The movie's just beginning. Caleb didn't have a good game whatsoever. I hold him accountable to that. But a lot of people out there, Rome dropped 3 balls. 2 of those he should have caught easily. And the story is completely different. That's football. And ultimately, I'm so excited that I have a coach that understands how important the run game is. And We haven't had that here. Matt Nagy was offended by the I formation that was averaging his team in the 18 point something yard. It was something crazy. Yep. When you're in the I off action, toss, all these things that you're seeing. Now, some of these things with DJ Moore in the backfield, I'm not a big fan of. I really believe Monin guy is the David Montgomery to the Gibbs and how you're going to attack downfield. It's important to have those two. And there it is happening in front of you. So, no, I gave you the long answer, but I really believe the identity right now is DeAndre Swift and Monin guy running downhill. Now, one point I want to make, Greg, Caleb and Ben need to really, and the quarterback coaches need to really work on action finish. And what that is running backs finishing the action off of play action, getting closer to the quarterback and finishing their fakes. Even Caleb's got to be a little more deliberate. He was so good at it. Me and Shayne breaking down his college tape. Like, look at this action mesh. It looks so much like their run.
He fell into the Jay Cutler laziness with it.
It's just a ball out, pulled back. There's no threat. Ben, if you're who I believe you are, I know I would be all over that. You want to get these guys open, we got to be more meticulous in our action game in the backfield.
Yeah, 100%. We got some people from the chat here. KCL saying, agree with Phil on this one. Not always going to be passing type weather, especially if it's 10 degrees and snowing. Yes, more bear weather to come. It was certainly bear weather at our tailgate here on Sunday morning, and it kind of
puddles.
Yeah, it was rivers in Chicago at the corner of Wabash and Cermak, but fans still showed out nonetheless. And then, of course, we do have Matt Nagy in our chat, or at least the parody of Matt Nagy, and he says the I formation is so gross. So he's staying on brand over there. So shout out to Matt, and we appreciate him tuning in. But we're gonna continue some of the run talk. I want to focus a little more on Kyle Monungai. Now that he's scored a touchdown, Phil, you got to start calling him Monungai, because you got that East Coast Monungai. You got the Monin guy. I had a guy in our comments last week yelling at me. They're like, when are you going to tell Phil it's Monin guy? When he scores a touchdown, he scored a touchdown this week.
Monin guy.
Monin guy.
Monin guy.
It's his East Coast accent. And then Shane's got the Canadian accent.
No.
Yes, he does,
no.
eh?
I don't say eh. I don't live on the 23rd floor either.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Throwbacks. All right. Let's get to our next segment here. But first, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And when we come back, we'll talk more run game. I know some people in the chat want to hear your guys' thoughts on offensive line play, specifically Theo Benedict. So we'll get to all that and more, but first. Hey, listen, guys, we got a special announcement here coming up on Sunday. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now, and you better have gotten your tickets. That's right. We are going to be at Joe's on Weed Street for Bears versus Ravens, as the Bears look to continue this winning streak on to 5 games. Going to be a tough matchup with potentially Lamar Jackson in the fold and the Ravens. Never an easy win in Baltimore, but we are going to be in Joe's on Weed Street, and we're going to be doing live pregame show, live postgame show, live brick by brick after show. So Lance Briggs, Jerry Azuma, Corey Wooten, Adam Hogue, Mark Carmen, we're all going to be there, including myself. So come out to Joe's on Weed Street. Have some fun with us. It's going to be a blast. And hopefully the Bears can continue this red-hot streak that they're on. First 4-game winning streak since 2018. Let's keep the vibes rolling here in Chicago as the Bears try to make a playoff push. If you go to allchgo.com/events, you can get your tickets. The $10 general admission ticket is your first option, but you also have an option for the VIP ticket that'll give you all you can drink and all you can eat. So come on out, allchgo.com/events. to get your tickets. But if you become a diehard here at allchgo.com/diehard, you can get that ticket with a discount. You get a free shirt as soon as you sign up. You get exclusive written content from guys like Adam Johns, Adam Hogue, Mark Carmen, Patrick Norton. They all do a fantastic job covering the Bears from a written standpoint. You get that exclusively as a diehard. You get a free shirt. You get discounts on future shirts purchases, future event purchases. You get discounts on, including our tailgates for every home game. Shout out to everybody that came out to the tailgate, and shout out to you for becoming a diehard. We appreciate your support always. All right, we're back here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Shayne Marsaw and Phil Ottochian as we are rounding third here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Make sure you're tuning in to the Tape Never Lies Network for their breakdowns all week long, and they are live every Wednesday for Keeping It 100 every Wednesday night, having special guests, fun conversations. So make sure you're tuning in for that as well. So, guys, I want to continue this run game conversation. I think I saw somewhere, Shayne, a stat that said that they were 32nd in the league in the bye week. And now after these last two games with the run game that they've had, I think it was 160 some odd yards against Washington, and then 222 yards, an explosion from DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, and Roschon Johnson had a big third down carry as well. 222 yards on the ground. And now all of a sudden they went from the worst run team in football to, I think they're up to 7th in football. Still early, so it kind of shows you how those stats can ebb and flow, but still, you got to love what you've seen from this run game. It starts up front with the offensive line, but the tight ends have been blocking their asses off. Colston Loveland had a big game blocking, some different highlights highlighting that. The wide receivers are blocking downfield, so no block, no rock is fully implemented here in Chicago with Ben Johnson and Eric Bieniemy leading that running backs room. So, what are you seeing from the run game that has been able to kind of turn the corner from what we saw from the first 4 games to the last 2?
Well, it's kind of about, we talked about it last week, after the bye week, it was obvious that was the focus of the bye week with Ben Johnson and the staff and him talking to the offensive line, the big changes there with Theo moving over to left tackle and DeAndre Swift. And yeah, you see it. And again, but it's still like how we talk about Caleb Williams, where there's going to be ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and there's going to be warts. And did Theo play his best game? No, not at all. It started off terribly, where he got blown off the ball or right at the snap, and then he followed it up with a penalty. And people are, hey, I think it was Yurko. I was like, if that was Braxton Jones out there doing that, people would want him benched. Braxton Jones is in year 4. This is his second start. I would take Theo Benedict, what he has shown in 2 games, over Braxton Jones all day, every day. Is he perfect? Would it prevent me if I had a left tackle staring me in the face in the offseason in the draft? Would Theo Benedict prevent me from drafting one? Of course not. Of course it wouldn't. But it's what Phil has always said. Get on again, and he's still, if you want to throw one thing out against Ben Johnson, it's you're on the 3-yard line, you're in gun, and every time I see that, I hear Phil screaming at the top of his lungs, get under center, pound the ball. But you just see more of a commitment. You're seeing not just DeAndre Swift. You see DeAndre Swift not involved for multiple series. It seems like they went away from him quite a bit last week and then came back to him, and he made plays. And then Monangai, there you go, Phil, making plays. And again, like you said, Roschon Johnson coming in. His one carry, 11 yards, was his longest run in his last 78 carries since December 24th, 2023. An 11-yard run was his longest run.
That's crazy.
It's
and pathetic. It was a big carry.
It's pathetic.
Yeah,
it was a big carry, yes, but it's also pathetic. And this is a guy, pillar piece, all of that. Cannot be done. You know, we're talking about this roster. They still should be turning it over, looking for guys like that. But DeAndre Swift, man, you got to give the guy his flowers. They're warranted, and he like Phil said, nobody out there thought that we were going to come away going into, you know, after week 7 saying DeAndre Swift, he's the identity of the Chicago Bears. And he is.
He's taken that role and he's relishing in it. And the first time I saw him speak was after the Lions game where they got whooped. And I was like, the way he was speaking, and I know a lot of people, I just saw a fire and a determination and embarrassment in him that he was going to do something. And he has. And he's running with his pads down, breaking tackles, running through arm tackles. He's not trying to bounce it every time. He just is playing like the kid I saw at Georgia. And really, listen, second lives, third lives, we've seen it a lot in the NFL. He is the identity right now in that run game. And let me tell you something. In football, Greg, you can't run the football. You're not going to win. You're just not. You got to be able to do it. The Bears haven't been able to do it. And now getting after it, watching them beat Washington in Washington like they did, it was because of the running game. And then your quarterback who put some perspective on it, like these young situations and all the Bo Nix, and then we're going to compare him to this guy and that guy. He's the Bears guy. And what you're building here is bigger than one game, 5 games. It's for your franchise to try to finally get it right. Stand behind the quarterback, stand behind the coach, allow this to work more than 3-4 games of whatever you're going to do in your analysis. I look at a whole new language that you're learning, a whole new dynamic with pieces missing and energy and fingers pointing. You had to change a whole culture, and now you're teaching your whole offensive philosophy to try to get these guys to buy in. And guess what? They're buying in. And the quarterback standing at the podium taking ownership of this. And that's where you want to be right now. I'm so glad that Caleb played bad because the Ravens are getting their guy back, right? So everybody's going to have their point. Well, here it is. Now they're getting their guy back. They've only won 1 game, but there's nowhere for these analytic guys to go. They're going to have Lamar back. I believe Caleb's going to show up and show out on Sunday because when you own it, you do something about it. And I believe that that's what's going to happen. And that's how you grow in this league. It's really how you do it.
Well, I mean, if the, you know, what we've seen this year so far, week to week, and this coaching staff and the adjustments they've made off of the clear problems that they have, and there will be different problems that emerge or reappear. The penalties, you know, pre-snap penalties, came back to life again here in this game. So I agree with you that I expect there to be a bounce back here on Sunday for the passing game. You know, Ben Johnson he doesn't suffer fools. He doesn't make excuses. He holds the players accountable, and they'll be dialed in. And you're seeing a team, and you're hearing the players at the podium and in the locker room have a confidence in the game plan they put together week to week. And yes, Lamar Jackson, you know, very well could return, and that's going to present a huge challenge for this Bears defense. But the Ravens defense on the other side of the football has had a pretty tough year. And I'm sure, you know, Harbaugh over there is going to make his adjustments. So I expect them to have a better showing than what we've seen so far. But at the same time, you know, this is a defense that this Bears offense can take advantage of. We did have a question from the chat as we start to wrap things up from Motor Music Mike, who I had the pleasure of hanging out with in Vegas. And he's asking you, Phil, your analysis. Shayne gave his thoughts on Theo Benedict, but what is your analysis on the new starting O-line play and what we've seen? Because, Ben Johnson said that, there's definitely room for improvement for Theo. But across the board, you're seeing some big blocks downfield. Drew Dahlman's doing his thing now. Jonah Jackson's getting out there, getting to the second level. Darnell Wright continues to be the guy that you've always said he is. So I'm just curious, or at least Motor Music Mike is curious what you're seeing now that Theo has entered the fold.
Yeah, you're seeing a more consistent product and finishing going on where it's not quite there yet by any means, but it's more consistently being blocked right. They're getting after, they're developing their own personality and getting that cohesiveness going forward. And that's really important, especially when you're starting to build your identity. And I was worried, is Ben going to try to throw the ball against the next opponent and the next opponent and the next? Is he going to try to rush this because he was force feeding Caleb, as he admitted? But his play calling has been very good because he's focused on finding that identity and the run game. Now, Dahlman has his warts. Theo Benedict has his warts. There's plays where Caleb is just absolutely overlooked at how amazing he's able to escape pressure and cover for his offensive line. Fans aren't going to tout that. Now, if he had run or hit some of those throws, then you probably would see it more. But he's got to learn from that. The offensive line, long story short, is consistently getting better. And that's the goal here. It's not where every other play we're breaking down. That's where we've been for the last 4 years. It's like every other play, you'll block one play out of 7 right. And now I'm looking at plays consistent. All right, 3 plays in a row, they really dominated the line of scrimmage and finished and blocked it correctly. It's something to build off. And in this league that's short on talented offensive linemen, shout out to the O-line coach, because there's consistent improvement going on where I've never seen that for the last 10 years, I'll say, for the Chicago Bears. So, yes, I love how coach is standing at a podium and using a player's name, Greg. Like I've always said, it doesn't cause problems. It actually helps the player. Like, I don't want to be called out in front of my peers, but I also don't want to be called out in the public. I got to clean this up. And you have a maniacal coach that stands confidently at the podium, blocks out Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, and George, I'm soft as you know what, McCaskey, and says the truth. And there's accountability every corner of every nook and cranny of your locker room and your offices. Accountability is going to fix this. It's the penicillin. And Ben is doing a great job, and the O-line is stepping up, man.
Yeah,
Really
they definitely are. You're pretty good at what you do with Ben Johnson and this offensive line as the Bucs run it in for a touchdown. So just like the Bears when they were up 20-0 and saw the Saints come back in that middle 8 where they get a touchdown at the end of the half and then a touchdown to start the second half, and all of a sudden it's 2014. Well, the Lions were in complete control, 14-0. Well, the Bucs snuck a field goal in at the end of the first half off of a Jared Goff interception. Yes, quarterbacks are allowed to throw interceptions. And then Baker and the Bucs had the ball to start the second half and drive all the way down and score a touchdown. So we got ourselves a ball game here as we're wrapping things up.
7:30.
What's that?
Yeah, it's because it's a doubleheader tonight.
Yeah, doubleheader. Yeah, and then we got another game starting at 9 here coming up. So, as we're wrapping things up here, make sure you become a diehard, as I mentioned here before. Appreciate everyone's support to the program. Appreciate everyone tuning in. If you go to allchgo.com/diehard, you can get exclusive written content, discount on merchandise, discount on events, the whole deal. So we appreciate you guys as always. All right, final thoughts here. You know, as we're wrapping things up, in the point I was going to make before I gave a little update on the Lions game. Apologize if anybody got any spoilers to that, but one thing I will say is, you're pretty good at what you do if you're Ben Johnson and this offensive line and this offense in general. You have nearly 400 yards of total offense, and they didn't play there were players in the locker room that weren't happy with how they played. Ben Johnson's not happy with how they played from a passing standpoint. Caleb Williams taking accountability. So it just shows the potential that this has. And Caleb Williams is really, the Cowboys game was the only complete game he's put together. And the fact that they're 4-2, the fact that they've won 4 in a row, the fact that they've been able to do what they've done here so far, where there's still so much more untapped potential, it has got me really excited as a Bears fan. This coaching staff has got me believing and looking forward to game days on Sundays, not dreading them. Win, lose, or draw, I can't wait for Sunday every week now, because I believe in this coaching staff. You see how Ben Johnson has them prepared. You see how Eric Bieniemy's impact on the running game room. You're seeing Antoine Randall coaching up these wide receivers. Al Harris, look at the job he's done with the DB room. He called the 4 takeaways for the game to Jason McKee. Dan Rochar, look at what he's done with the offensive line. Dennis Allen, look at how they rallied around him for the Saints game. Shayne,
hopefully,
exciting stuff.
Hopefully, Randall L buys Rome a jugs machine, so we can get that rolling.
Yeah,
because
he's got to make some of these contested catches.
His contested catch rate in 2025. He is 78th in the league. 78th. You know what he was last year? Number 3. It's a problem. And I mean, those contested catches that he's dropped, and I know we talked about it with you, Greg, on in the Detroit game. There was a couple of them that you said that Caleb never should have thrown. Well, it didn't hit anything but Rome's hands. And just like yesterday. Hit him right square in the hands, and if it's just a mental lapse, but Rome Odunze should not be dropping those footballs. He shouldn't be. He's a top 10 pick, and it should be called out. Because I mean, Caleb makes one mental error or makes a stupid pass, it's front page news. Rome Odunze needs to play better, needs to make bigger catches like that. It's an issue right now.
Yeah. No,
it's not being talked about enough.
It certainly is. I guess I don't talk about it as much because, I mean, I guess no excuse, but I just believe that he is going to get it cleaned up. I've seen enough from him from his college career to what he did last year and who he is as a football player, that the more they get through this and the more they figure each other out and how they want the football, where they want the football. Like, I just trust Rome Odunze. I think he's big time, and I believe in his hands. People saying he doesn't have good hands. I understand that that's what it's showing, but I know what his capabilities are. So it has been surprising to me, honestly, that he's had the drops that he's had here at times. But we've done a good job here so far today or tonight of not really. We focused on defense, run game, and a lot of other things, and touched on some things, but like Caleb Williams too. And I know, Phil, you talked about it here a little bit as well, but Caleb has got, everybody in the passing game has to get better, and Rome is included in that. Cole is included in that. Caleb is included in that. Ben even said he has to do a better job of putting these guys in better positions as well. So I think there's accountability across the board that needs to be had. But I also know that I'm keeping an open mind to how they're figuring things out as well. Caleb here in this last game, running all over the place, playing erratic. And I think that what we saw with Mitch and Fields at times, where you'd have good football players like Darnell Mooney have down years and other players, like, to me, if you don't have consistency and rhythm to your offense, then it starts to trickle down into everyone. Then, the penalties start happening and the drops start happening. And so I think it does start to become contagious. And that's not to make an excuse for anyone.
Who are the 2 backup quarterbacks that you just mentioned?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 100%. But I just know that in general, inconsistency can be contagious, and that these guys, have to find a rhythm. And the more they do, I think the more you see their full potential. And they did not have Saints got them out of their rhythm here on Sunday. So we could spend another hour talking about Caleb. We spend most shows here talking about Caleb in the offense. Let's hope that we're talking about a better performance from the passing game here on Sunday against the Ravens, because they'll certainly need it if Lamar Jackson is playing, that's for sure. We're going to get the Ravens' best effort as they are trying to get their season back on track. So I want to thank everyone here in the chat for hanging out with us all night. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Shout out to Adam Rank for jumping in early on. We appreciate his passion and energy always. And shout out to you, fine gentlemen. And once again, make sure you're tuning in to Phil and Shayne on the Tape Never Lies Network weekly, and keeping it 100 here coming up on Wednesday. But they have plenty of content at your disposal as well. So that wraps things up here for tonight. 4-game winning streak here on a Victory Monday, not a Victory Tuesday, Greg. And we'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central. Adam Hogue, Mark Carmen, and myself, and we will continue to keep this train a-rolling. So as I always like to say to end the shows, keep your head up and always bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.